On my first day attending the youth prep class as a 250 IQ genius, a complex adult-level math Olympiad problem on the board caught my eye. I walked up calmly and effortlessly solved a problem no one else in the class could understand. Everyone was stunned to see me write out the correct answer, but no one knew my intelligence came from my father, the president of the National Academy of Sciences. And that same father had no idea he had a genius son living outside the city. 5 years ago, while conducting research in the wilderness, my father happened to meet my mother, a woman being forced into marriage by her family. In desperation, she fled into his research tent, unintentionally escaping her fate. But due to the effects of a hallucinogenic incense, she mistook my father for a cure, and an unexpected connection occurred because he had to deliver urgent research data to the capital. He let her rest in the tent, promising to return and take her home once work was done. But by the time he came back, he was already too late. My mother had been found pregnant, and my cruel grandfather accused her of being promiscuous. He even colluded with the villagers to drown her in the river. Luckily, she managed to escape with her life. For the next 6 years, my mother raised me on her own. I inherited my father's brilliance, displaying genius-level intellect far beyond my age. Meanwhile, my father was constantly being pressured by my grandmother to go on blind dates, but he could never forget the woman from that night 6 years ago. He had been searching for her in every way possible, but always came up empty-handed. One day, outside the medical academy where my father worked, my grandmother was almost hit by a car, but the driver falsely accused her of faking the injury. I happened to be delivering food with my mother nearby. Facing the bully's threats, I confidently recited Article 90 of the Road Traffic Safety Law. Seeing how well I understood the law in the growing crowd, the thug fled in embarrassment. My grandmother stared at me. In shock, she thought I looked exactly like her son. While I wasn't looking, she secretly pulled out a strand of my hair, planning to run a DNA test. She had no idea I was the grandson she had lost for 6 years. Meanwhile, my mother had noticed my extraordinary intellect. The next day, she brought me to a youth math competition screening. But as soon as we walked into the classroom, we saw my uncle, the same man who had once tried to force her into marriage. He was shocked to see my mother still alive, and even more shocked that she had given birth to the child. While the two of them argued, I noticed the math problem on the board. Out of curiosity, I walked up and began solving it. In just seconds, I completed the most difficult question of the competition. Everyone was in disbelief, stunned that someone so young could solve such a problem. Trying to compete, my uncle claimed his own son was just as smart. He urged him to go up and solve the same problem, but his son couldn't even understand the symbols on the board. Just then, the department head arrived after hearing the commotion. He entered and saw the solved Olympiad question. Even he was shocked it was a question he'd spent 3 days trying to solve. Yet I had completed it in mere seconds with clearer and more elegant steps. He immediately realized I was a rare math genius and quickly sent someone to inform the president of the academy. Soon, my father in his office received the news. He rushed toward the classroom. Back inside, my jealous uncle began to slander my mother. He accused her of faking everything, claimed it was actually his son who solved the problem, and had told me the answer in advance. Then he brought up how my mother had gotten pregnant out of wedlock. He mocked her for not even knowing the father's name, saying someone like her couldn't possibly raise a genius. Instead, he insisted that his son born to a PhD wife had the true intelligence. The department head started to believe his story and told my mother to take me and leave before causing more embarrassment. My mother tried to explain, but my uncle slapped her. His son then pushed me to the ground. When my mother rushed to help me, she too was shoved violently to the floor. At that moment, a voice suddenly rang out from the doorway. It was my father.